What's good, everyone? This is Very Mellow Man. This is, I believe, part 9 of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And we just came back from rescuing Liara, so let's just debrief everyone.
Yes, Commander?
Oh.
Carry on, Presley.
Yes, sir.
Alright. Another thing is that, so basically, yeah, nothing too productive happened for the majority of the Artemis Tau mission. Just fighting Geth and me talking about some of the mechanics of the game that were updated. All the main story stuff happened at the end when we finally found Liara, and we learned that she's not working with Saren or Major Benezia. Obviously not, because she was hiding for the Geth. She's now part of the crew and is the final party member, yay. And she's our biotic, or, well, we'll get to that when we get to that.
I prefer gold to silver, you know, for my metal. I figured you'd recommend me for one since I pulled your boots out of the fire.
Wow, the audio skipping is still an issue here. I think this piece of dialogue will actually finish on the PS3 version of the game, but that's the first time I've heard it cut off in a long time. I didn't skip anything. It just happened. I mean, this is just a fresh cut of paint, some updating mechanics. Not every little detail is going to get fixed.
If we present you with a medal, you'll end up sitting on stage listening to politicians make speeches for a couple of hours. Fun.
That's a good point. They'd probably make me shave, too. I spent the last 7 weeks working on this baby. No medal's worth that. So, Commander, why don't you tell me why you're really here?
How's the Normandy performing?
She's the best ship in the fleet. Balance isn't what you do. The Normandy's probably too much
right.
for your average Alliance pilot.
I have to go.
Alright, see ya.
Yeah, you can talk to Joker after the end of every, at the end of every single, main story mission like you can the rest of your allies. It's just that he'll really only give a snarky piece of dialogue here or there instead of something a bit more significant. So let's actually go to the bottom here and talk to all the squad mates from the bottom up first.
Something I can do for you, Commander.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Oh, hello, Shepard.
Aww.
Are you okay?
I don't know. Your ship is amazing, and your crew's been really great to me, especially your chief engineer. But I just sort of feel out of place. The Normandy runs so smooth, it feels like we're not even moving. And the engines are so quiet. How do you sleep at night?
The silence wakes you up?
Back on the flotilla, the last thing you want to hear is silence. It means an engine's died or an air filter shut down. I guess you don't have to worry about that here. But old habits die hard. But it's more than just the silence. This ship feels so empty. It's like half the crew is missing. Back home, I couldn't wait to go on my pilgrimage. I couldn't wait to get away from the crowds. Now that I'm out here, I kind of miss them.
I mean, that's a fair thing to say. Like, everyone gets a little homesick when they leave for the first time. It can be a very emotionally draining experience.
Sometimes we don't appreciate what we have until it's gone.
That's true. I'm starting to wonder if that's what the pilgrimage is really about. It's given me a whole new perspective on my people and our culture. You know, there's always a few who go on their pilgrimages and never return. I always assumed something bad happened to them, but maybe they just wanted a different life.
You do plan to return to the migrant fleet, right?
I could never abandon my people, Shepard. I will go back eventually. But we have to stop Saren first. Otherwise, I might not have a home to go back to.
I should go.
See you later. Hey, Shepard. Do you need something?
I should go.
See you later.
Half the crew's missing because this is a 2007 video game, and rendering all that AI data isn't exactly the easiest thing to do. Thought the Garrus next.
Commander, how are you?
Why did you want to be a CSEC officer in the first place?
That's a good question. There were several reasons, I guess.
Like what?
Probably the same as most officers. I wanted to fight injustice, wanted to help people. I guess my father had something to do with it too. He was CSEC, one of the best. I grew up hearing about his accomplishments or seeing his picture on the vids after a big arrest. He's taking my resignation pretty hard.
That's tough, but you'd think he'd be impressed you're going after Saren.
My father's a CSEC man to the bone. Do things right or don't do them at all.
The audio mixing at this part is weird. Garrus sounds way too quiet from my perspective.
He actually talked me out of becoming a Spectre when I was younger, for the same reasons.
You were asked to be a Spectre?
Well, I was targeted as a possible Spectre candidate. Me and about 1,000 other Turian military recruits. I could have received special training, but my father didn't like it. He despises the Spectres. He hates the idea of someone having unlimited power with no accountability. He wouldn't like you, Commander. No offense.
Not all Spectres are like Saren, you know.
Of course not. But Saren's not going to play by our rules, CSEC's rules. If you want to nail Saren, you need to send someone who isn't restricted by policies and procedures.
You're a quick learner, Garrus. We'll beat him at his own game. It's the only way to stop someone like him.
I'm right behind you, Commander.
Commander, you have a minute to talk?
I keep an open door policy. If you have any concerns...
Let's rock it.
All right. I know things are different aboard the Normandy, but I'm concerned about the aliens, Vicarian and Rex. With all due respect, Commander, should they have full access to the ship?
You don't trust their motives because they're not human.
This is the most advanced ship in the Alliance Navy.
Yeah, let's just get this out
I
there.
think we should give them free rein to poke around the vital systems. Engines, sensors, weapons.
Huh.
You don't trust the Alliance's allies?
I'm not sure I'd call the Council races allies.
But we need to see this to the end.
I mean, have to learn to rely on ourselves.
Standing up for ourselves doesn't mean standing alone.
I don't think we should turn down allies. I just think we shouldn't bet everything on them staying allies. As noble as the Council members seem now, if their backs are against the wall, they'll abandon us.
I don't see that as inevitable.
Look, if you're fighting a bear and the only way for you to survive is to sick your dog on it and run, you'll do it. As much as you love your dog, it isn't human. It's not racism, not really. Members of their species will always be more important to them than humans are.
Okay, this does make sense. I mean, they did basically not really care about the human colony getting attacked. Not really. But
You sound like one of those Terra Firma party pamphlets, Chief.
Terra Firma is a pack of jackals. The founders had ideals. These days they just play off xenophobia and bigotry. I hope my reasons are more rational. My father, grandfather...
admittedly, I do think I picked the best line here.
here. And swore the oath of service. I guess we just tend to think of Earth's interests as our own.
It doesn't sound like you've worked with aliens before.
No, sir. Mainly I've been groundside, part of the surface garrison forces. I did get a rotation on a space station for training. Every Marine a rifleman, every rifleman ZG certified.
That's odd. Your record is spotless and your technical scores are exemplary. You should be serving with the fleet.
Anyway, that's why I haven't served with many aliens, Commander.
I never knew my family. Grew up an orphan on Earth. Anybody in your family I'd have heard of?
Couldn't say, Commander. So why are you out here? Just trying to get away from Earth?
No. The future of humanity is out here.
I want to be a dreamer. That's all I need.
Yeah. I still remember my first field exercise on Titan. When we hit mud...
It doesn't sound like Ashley would want to get away from Earth, so I didn't really reply with that.
Then my drill instructor kicked me in the ass. I went face first into the muck. He spent the next 5 minutes chewing me out for gold breaking.
And what's that?
Don't tell me you had Gunny Ellison. He's the only one I know who uses that word to describe shirking duty.
Oh, Lord. You went to the Makapog boot camp, too? Yeah. Gunny Ellison's still reaming out recruits down there. Kicking ass and using words like inveigle and pusillanimous.
All right. I can see where your concerns are coming from, Williams. But this is a multilateral mission. You're going to have to work with aliens, like it or not.
It won't be a problem, Commander. You say jump, I say how high. You tell me to kiss a Turian, I'll ask which cheek.
This line obviously initiates a romance, but... Alright.
I'm glad there won't be a problem.
Anything else you need, Commander?
What's your opinion on the last...
This is what I actually came here to ask you, but okay.
Dr. Tassoni's story about her and her mom not talking. They're family, right?
I think she's being straight with us. Or at least, I don't think she lies very often.
Yeah, she's probably really bad at it. Too bad those ruins got destroyed. I mean, they lasted thousands of years. That's impressive.
We'll talk later, Williams.
Looking forward to it, sir.
Good. She didn't call you Skipper. That means that you have successfully disengaged the Ashley romance for your male Shepard. Now we're all set for the Superior Liara route. What's up, Rex?
So, we've got Saren on the run.
It won't be long now. Saren's good, but I'm better.
Good. He's rotten. To the core. I could tell as soon as I met him.
Why didn't you tell me this sooner?
I would have if I thought it was important.
I think I'd like to hear about it just the same.
This was a while ago. A bunch of mercs were bragging about a job out near the edges of the Terminus systems. They said it paid well and the boss was never around to ride them. They said he was looking for more men, too. So I checked it out.
Woo.
I didn't know Saren was openly recruiting mercs.
It wasn't that open, and he only showed...
Yeah, you know, it would make sense that Spectre is famous as Saren would want to keep the fact that he works with mercenaries in the down low.
Our biggest haul yet. I was on board checking bodies for valuables, looking for some extra credits. That's when I saw him.
What did Saren want with the ship?
I don't know what he wanted. He was just moving through the ship, watching. A couple of the mercs called him by name, but he never spoke to them. Never spoke to anyone. I had a really bad feeling about him. So I got the hell out. Didn't even wait to get paid.
Okay. That's eerie. And I'm really forgotten where this story ends.
What kind of cargo was the freighter carrying? What was Saren after?
I don't know. All I saw on that ship was food and medical supplies. There were some basic weapons, but nothing big. If there was anything of value on that ship, I didn't see it. That's why I didn't mention it sooner.
Whose ship was it?
There was a Volus trading vessel. Big one. Lots of guards. But they were no match for us.
That's the only time you saw him?
Yeah. Didn't even know who he was. Still wouldn't if I hadn't joined up with you. But my instincts were right. Every other merc on that mission turned up dead within a week.
Jeez. Yeah, your instincts. God. What in the world did Saren want with those mercs? Why?
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Alright. Jeez, okay, that's spooky. Alright, that's a chilling story right there. Saren... You look at Rex, you look at this battle-scarred, hundreds years old Krogan Superman, and then you hear him speak of Saren like he's some sort of godforsaken boogeyman. It's just eerie stuff, man. It's eerie. You gonna talk to me now, Caden? This cutscene is so sensual when you're walking up to Caden after he just wipes his brow, getting the sweat off. It's so weird. Alright.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
Is this an official evaluation, Commander? Or off the record?
Alenko, when it's just you and me, you can consider it off the record.
That's a generous attitude. Okay. I think there's something wrong with all this. This Saren is looking for records on some kind of galactic extinction, but we can't get backup from the Council? Sorry, Commander. There's writing on the wall here, but someone isn't reading it.
The Council doesn't want to believe anything's wrong. I'd call it human nature, but...
I hear you. It just seems like a group that's been around as long as the Council should see this coming. Sorry if I got too informal. Protocol wasn't a big focus back in Bot.
Tell me about it.
Biotic acclimation and temperance didn't last past the airlock. To the kids they hauled in, it was brain camp. So, all dead. We were encouraged to commit to an evaluation of our abilities.
You know, it's a bit... I don't remember if Shepard... If a biotic using Shepard can comment on anything Caden went through. So I'm gonna look for the dialogue, see if I can get it.
Is there some question about how you were exposed?
My mother was downwind of a transport crash. It was before there were human biotics. A little after the discovery of the Martian ruins. It only gets iffy around 63 when Kinetics was running out of first-gen subjects. Until then, they'd relied on accidentals. A bunch of guys in suits show up at your door after school, and next thing you know, you're out on Jump Zero.
Jump Zero is Gagarin Station, right? What's it like?
Yeah, that's the official name. Biggest and farthest facility we had for decades. Right on the termination shock, the outer edge of the solar system. It's where they did all the Goose Chase FTL research before we caught on to using mass effect fields. It was a sterile research platform when I was there.
So, this is actually going to be really important to listen to because there is more than one side mission in this game that deals with the treatment of biotic humans in general, and it gets pretty heavy with the discrimination and mistreatment.
There were other kids in the same boat, right? At least you weren't alone out there.
That's true. We did have a little circle that'd get together every night before lights out. We didn't have much to do, though. It was a research platform then, and Kinetics kept Jump Zero off the extranet to prevent leaks.
Alright, let's be boys. Remember, we're playing a Paragade, Shepard.
You were all teenagers. I'm sure you found other ways to occupy the time.
I'm not the sort who does that kind of thing, Commander. Not lightly, anyway. There was a girl I spent a lot of time with. We kept our clothes on. Rana. She was from Turkey. Her family was very rich. But she was smart and charming as hell. Beautiful, but not stuck up about it. I think you'd have liked her.
We did say it's off the record when it's just you and me, dude.
Sounds like she was special to you.
She was. Maybe she felt the same. But things never felt together. Training, you know.
You know of any intentional exposures for certain?
No one knows. Doesn't mean they didn't happen. As big as the exposures were, it was hard to track down accidentals. It was different then. No one knew the potential, so there wasn't a lot of regulation. Anything Kinetics did was gold. I'm not saying they intentionally detonated drives over our outposts, but in retrospect, they were damn quick on the scene.
Jump Zero's a long way from home. What was it like?
The grand gateway to humanity looks a lot better in the vids. But that's my own baggage, Commander. No bearing on this.
Alenko, there's no regulation that says you can't be friends with your commander.
I appreciate that, Commander. I just don't want you to think that I'm a whiner.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Caden, because it's like... That line's actually a reference to how many people grew to despise Raphael Sparge's previous BioWare character, Karth Onasi, from Knights of the Old Republic, who came off as a whining, holier-than-thou stuck-up person to a lot of people because his legitimate concerns were voiced in such a way that it sounded like he was complaining about everything that you were doing. Especially if you were playing a dark side character and you had him in your party. And back then, 2003, 2004, lots of teenage and up players just did not really care to have their actions called out by the video game they were just trying to enjoy. It's a very infantile way of looking at how certain characters react to others, but it is what it is when it comes to, you know, BioWare fans. Even to this day, that reputation's largely followed a lot of characters that Raphael Sparge has voiced in BioWare games, and it's really unfortunate because Caden's not a whiner. He's not the most interesting, I will admit, but he's far from a bad character.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Alright, last person to talk to is Yara, so she should be in here.
Commander, are you coming to check up on me?
You look much better. How are you feeling?
Dr. Chakwas assures me I am going to be fine. I was impressed with her knowledge of Asari physiology.
You're in good hands. Dr. Chakwas knows what she's doing.
I never properly thanked you for saving me from the Geth, Commander. If you hadn't shown up...
I'm just glad we got there in time.
So am I. I know you took a chance bringing me aboard this ship. I have seen the way your crew looks at me. They do not trust me. But I am not like Benezia. I will do whatever I can to help you stop Saren. I promise.
Don't worry, Liara. I trust you. I know you won't let me down.
It means a lot to hear you say that, Commander. Thank you.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
I don't understand it. She was always outspoken about the need for the Asari to become more involved in shaping galactic events. Maybe
Allying herself with Saren would somehow be for the greater good in the long run.
I'm sorry, more involved? Your race found the Citadel. You're the first seed. You're the first race to become council members. How are you not more involved? You are the reason anyone else gets involved. That's weird. It's just a weird way to look at it.
This hurts you, doesn't it?
None of this makes any sense to me. I have not spoken to Benezia in many years, but I know her. And this was not like her. Something changed.
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
We were the first species to discover the Citadel. We were instrumental in forming the Council, and we always strive to be the voice of peaceful cooperation in galactic disputes. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic community. Each species contributes something to the greater whole. Although we seek to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The galaxy is filled with rumors and misinformation about my people.
Like what?
Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating rituals. My species is monogendered. Male and female have no real meaning for us. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species and any gender.
Okay, yeah, so we might as well bring this up. The entire idea that Asari are monogendered in universe, and the debate out of universe about whether or not that means they can truly be considered gay representation is a very ugly one. And for well over a decade, obviously, it's largely gotten to the point where some people have gotten really heated about that definition. And considering that this is 2007 and homosexual representation was still a bit of a hot button issue, I can understand why BioWare, even in their desire to include it, would design the Asari to look conventionally female, and then, you know, basically make them out to be the gay option for a palpable audience while still trying to get their points about homosexuality across to the player base. I say this because both Cade and Ashley were also originally planned to become, I'm not going to say bisexual, because Dragon Age 2 basically did this as well, but that's not how that worked. What I'm going to say is that Liara, Cade, and Ashley were all meant to be open for both a male and female Shepard to romantically engage with, but eventually they were restricted to monogender, and the Liara was magically not a female character in universe because, well, the Fox News Bulletin blasting Mass Effect for being a sex simulator scared off BioWare something fierce, and that is why BioWare got cold feet about their homosexual representation, even in Mass Effect 2 to a certain degree. This also goes back to Juhani from Knights of the Old Republic, who is quite literally the first intentionally designed to be a gay Jedi character ever in Star Wars, but Lucasfilm Studios themselves put their foot down and explicitly forbade the depiction of a gay Jedi. 2003. Not great for all that stuff. We had some growing up to do. But ultimately, this is still the result of that, and that's why it didn't take until Mass Effect 3 to do some course correction on that. So, sorry for going on a bit of a tangent. At least, I hope you guys understood the point they're trying to make here. there is just a lot of baggage going on with the Asari and their sensuality, so to speak, and that's why.
I don't understand. Your species can mate with anyone?
Mating is not quite the proper term, not as you understand it. Physical contact may or may not be involved, but it is not an essential element of the union. The true connection is mental. Our physiology allows us to meld with other beings. We can touch the very depths of their minds. We explore the genetic memory of their species. We share the most basic elements of their individual and racial identities. We then pass these traits on to our daughters. It is how we learn to grow as a species and how we develop a greater understanding of other races.
Yeah.
What happens to your partner after the union?
Every relationship is different. Some unions are a single encounter with both parents parting ways afterwards. Others can be more long-term. Sometimes an Asari and her partner will stay together for many decades.
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner. Though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
I thought you always needed another species to serve as one of the parents.
Think about it, Shepard. If we were not able to mate with our own species, we would have died out long before we ever mastered spaceflight and left our homeworld. Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called a pureblood, though no Asari would ever be to say the word to my face. It is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
Oh boy. So that's actually the most interesting aspect behind Asari reproduction. Like, the idea that there's a social stigma against having children with your own species because of something like that, I think is genuinely interesting, because it's like, okay, like, it's literally the opposite of the typical trope. Anyone who's probably grown up with my generation probably read or watched the Harry Potter series, and when you hear the term pureblood, you're thinking of like an extra supernatural species being stronger by staying within the lane, so to speak, and only having children with other supernaturally abled bodies to strengthen the magic of whatever you have you, and that is where the pureblood racism comes from. But Mass Effect inverted it in a very interesting way. Like, we aren't going to hear more about it until the next game, but there's reasons why the Asari believe mating with mating with other Asari isn't necessary to the species' benefit, besides what Liara is saying. And I don't want to spoil it necessarily if there are people out there watching me play along with them. Or, I'm sorry, if there's people who want to experience the story with me, I am not going to spoil every little detail until we get there, but there's reasons for that are interesting to see. But, like, it's interesting here because Asari believe that they get stronger by crossbreeding explicitly. And so they look down on people who stay within the lane. It's still bad, of course. That now it's like we're not going to justify any type of prejudice. But as far as world building goes and developing cultures and how, like, alien culture depending as relationships like this is always going to cause a bunch of interesting drama built with, and that's, I think, the most interesting thing about it. and only get more interesting from here to explore, in my opinion.
How could anyone abandon?
This is all speculation on my part. It is possible she wanted to be part of my life, but something happened to her before she had the chance. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
Ah, perfect segue into the bottom question that used to be here. My Shepard is Earthborn and doesn't know their family, remember? So the middle question felt really poignant for him, and I do like that the game gives you the tools to roleplay with that knowledge, even with the voice acting.
You Asari live for 1,000 years. What happens when your partner dies?
Few sapient species live as long as my kind. We have learned to take a philosophical approach to our unions. We do not focus on the inevitable loss of our partners. Instead, we enjoy the time we spend with them. And even after they're gone, a part of them lives on in us. The union is a connection that transcends both time and space.
And I think that's actually a genuinely beautiful way to look at it. Spirituality born from their biology, that's pretty cool. Okay, I think we are really done here,
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander. I get the feeling you want to ask me something, Commander.
And now we can just straight up talk about Liara.
Tell me about yourself, Liara.
Me? I am afraid I am not very interesting, Commander. I spend most of my time on remote digs, unearthing mundane items buried in long-forgotten Prothean ruins.
Sounds dangerous. And lonely.
Sometimes I would run afoul of indigenous life forms or stumble across a small band of mercenaries or privateers, but I was always careful. Until the Geth followed me to Artemis Tau, I never found myself in any situation my biotics could not handle. As for the solitude, well, that is one aspect that most appealed to me. Sometimes I just need to get away from other people.
You don't like other people?
I suppose it comes from being a matriarch's daughter. People expected me to follow in Benezia's footsteps. They wanted me to become a leader of our people. Matriarchs guide their followers into the future. They seek the truth of what is yet to come. Maybe that's why I became so interested in the secrets of the past. It sounds so foolish when I say it out loud. It sounds like I became an archaeologist simply to spite Benezia.
All children rebel against their parents. It's a natural part of growing up.
Aha, you share the wisdom of the matriarch, Shepard. That is exactly what Benezia said when I told her of my decision. But there was more to it than that. I felt drawn to the past. The Protheans were these wondrous, mysterious figures. I wanted to know everything about them. That is why I find you so fascinating. You were marked by the beacon on Eden Prime. You were touched by working Prothean technology.
Sounds like you want to dissect me in a lab somewhere.
What? No, I did not mean to insinuate. I never meant to
Oh,
offend you, Shepard.
okay, yeah, this is hilarious. This is always a really cute aspect of Liara's character.
That's even worse.
Calm down, Liara. I was only joking.
Joking?
Admittedly,
Oh,
Mark
how could I be so
Sheplu,
dense?
it's a little hard to
You must
tell
think I
from
am
your
a
tone of
complete and
voice.
utter fool. Now you know why I prefer to spend my time in the field with data disks and computers. I always seem to say something embarrassing around other people. Please, just pretend this conversation never happened.
I should go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
Alright, let's finish up this video with some more Codex conversation.
Pharos is a... Noveria is a cool... The Citadel. Citadel Space is an unofficial term referring to any region of space controlled by a species that acknowledges the authority of the Citadel Council. At first glance, It appears this territory encompasses most of the galaxy. In reality, however, less than 1% of the stars have been explored. Even Mass Effect FTL drive is slow relative to the volume of the galaxy. Empty space and systems without suitable drive discharge sites are barriers to exploration. Only the mass relays allow ships to jump hundreds of light years in an instant, the key to expanding across an otherwise impassable galaxy. Whenever a new relay is activated, the destination system is rapidly developed. From that hub, FTL drive is used to expand to nearby star clusters. The result is a number of densely developed clusters, thinly spread across the vast expanse of space, connected by the mass relay network.
This is also why this part of the lore is actually going to be really important, because it's pretty much the linchpin behind why Saren needs to go out of his way to find the conduit. Wherever he's going, it's not in Citadel Space.
Biotics is the ability of rare individuals to manipulate dark energy and create mass effect fields through the use of electrical impulses from the brain. Intense training and surgically implanted amplifiers are necessary for a biotic to produce mass effect fields powerful enough for practical use. The relative strength of biotic abilities varies greatly among species and with each individual. There are 3 branches of biotics. Telekinesis uses mass-lowering fields to levitate or impel objects. Mass-raising kinetic fields are used to block or pin objects. Spatial distortion uses rapidly shifting mass fields to shred objects. Most organic species are capable of developing biotic abilities, though there are risks involved. Biotics are the result of an in utero exposure to element 0. This usually causes fatal cancers in the victim, but in rare cases, it coalesces into nodules within the fetus's developing nervous system.
So to make this short, telekinetic biotic powers are your throw powers and your lift powers. Kinetic fields are, well, stasis. Kinetic fields are basically stasis. Kinetic fields are both the... Okay, so the telekinesis powers are throw and lift. The kinetic field powers are stasis to crowd control, and the barrier spell to straight up act as a the barrier spell to straight up act as a shield around you, and distortion is both the warp spell and the singularity spell. Or at the very least, I think singularity is also... Okay, distortion has to be warp and singularity as well. Makes sense.
When subjected to an electrical current, the rare material dubbed Element 0, or EZO, emits a dark energy field that raises or lowers the mass of all objects within it. This mass effect is used in countless ways.
Hey, tile drop.
Artificial gravity to manufacturing high-strength construction materials. It is most prominently used to enable faster-than-light space travel. EZO is generated when solid matter, such as a planet, is affected by the energy of a star going supernova. The material is common in the asteroid debris that orbits neutron stars and pulsars. These are dangerous places to mine, requiring extensive use of robotics, telepresence, and shielding to survive the incredible radiation from the dead star. Only a few major corporations can afford the setup costs required to work these primary sources. Humanity discovered refined Element 0 at the Prothean Research Station on Mars, allowing them to create mass effect fields and develop FTL travel. Element 0 can increase or decrease the mass of a volume of space. Omni-tools are handheld devices that combine a computer microframe, sensor analysis pack, and manufacturing fabricator. Versatile and reliable, an Omni-tool can be used to analyze and adjust the functionality of most standard equipment, including weapons and armor, from a distance. The fabrication module can rapidly assemble small three-dimensional objects from common reusable industrial plastics, ceramics, and light alloys. This allows for field repairs and modifications to most standard items, as well as the reuse of salvaged equipment. Omni-tools are standard issue for soldiers and first-in colonists.
So, biotic powers and the Omni-tool is basically... The Omni-tool is one of the most important conveniences in the Mass Effect setting. It's basically like having a smartphone. You know what? The Omni-tool basically sounds like the smartphone at this point. We basically have Omni-tools. We just don't have them strapped to our wrist like watches full time now. But yeah. The only way you can equip an Omni-tool in the game is if you possess a tech ability like electronics or decryption. That's the only way you can actually improve a... That's literally the only way you can have one equipped. We'll get into more of that in the next episode. I think we spent enough time debriefing, and this episode went long enough that I don't feel comfortable doing any more side content until we actually decide to do some side content. So, thank you guys for watching. Of course, and I will see you when we actually decide to take care of those side quests from earlier.